All right, guys, let's move on to our next composition. I'm going to go to Composition, New Composition. So this time, same settings, 19 by 20, 1080, 5 seconds. Again, the background doesn't matter because we're importing a background. Name, first name, last name, underscore, and this one we are going to learn how to animate the anchor point and rotating the anchor point, and then followed by the month, day, and year. And then I'm going to hit OK. All right, we're going to import 3 graphics for this one. So I'm going to double click the project panel, and I need to import the broom tip. I'm going to hold down Shift to also import the witch, and I'm also going to import a dark sky here. And then say open. So I'm going to start off with clicking and dragging and bringing the dark sky. Now I'm actually going to create a separate composition very quickly because we can see that I have a witch and I want to animate the broom tip so it's constantly moving in the wind, but I want it to loop. So I'm going to create that composition separately, then bring it into this timeline. So what I want to do is I'm going to select the witch, and I'm going to right click and say I want to create a composition from this selection, from this asset. When I do that, it's going to create a new composition. So I didn't have to say composition, new composition. It actually made it. We could even see the little film strip over here. We can see that it says witch. So now I'm going to be making a composition that I'm going to nest, what I call nest, into that other composition that we started. So here we have my witch composition, and now I'm going to bring in, we have the witch on the timeline. I'm going to bring down the asset that says broom tip, click and drag that over the witch. So here it is, and I want to click and drag it to the back of the broom pole, and I want to animate this so that when she's flying through the wind, that the back of this broom tip is rotating, so it looks like it's actually like flapping in the wind. So what I want to do is bring it, select broom tip, and I'm going to hit R for rotation, and I'm going to hit the stopwatch because I want to actually animate this. Now the problem is if I move 1 second in and I start rotating it, notice that the anchor point is in the center of this asset, so it's rotating it in the middle, and I really want it to rotate from the very left side and rotate around that point. So what I need to do is actually change where the anchor point is on that object. So I'm going to go back to frame 1, and I'm going to hit A for anchor point. I don't need to, I'm not animating the anchor point, I just want to change where it is. So I'm going to click and drag and move that anchor point to right here, right where the end of the broom tip is, and that just means I've changed where the position of the anchor point is, and then I might have to move that a little bit closer back into the witch. So now I'm going to select R again to go back to rotating. So I'm going to click and drag to frame 1 again. So now notice it's rotating down from this point. I'm going to go to frame 2, and I'm going to rotate up again. Go to frame 3 seconds, move down slightly, move 4, up, and go to 5 and back kind of straight again. Okay, I'm going to hit the space bar to render and play the scene. So now we can see that the tail of the broom is moving. Now when I animate this witch in my other composition, it will continue to loop that animation over and over and over again. So I don't have to animate it across the whole thing. I already did it once, and it will just keep looping. So now I'm going to go back to my anchor point rotation composition. So it's still in that tab right behind it. And now I'm going to bring in this witch composition that we just created. So I'm going to click and drag it on top of dark sky. So this is my nested composition. I am going to bring up P for position, and I'm going to bring her off stage left, and we can say go back a little bit. I'm sorry, about 50. So she's over here, and I'm going to select P for position. I want her to start off. I'm going to go to about halfway through, and I want her to be in the center of the moon. And then I'm going to go to 5-second mark and then bring her off. All right, so now I'm going to hit the space bar to render the screen and play. Notice that I've only animated the position, but we can see that the edge of that broomstick is continuing to rotate and move over and over again as she's going across the stage. So the last thing that we need to do here is go to Composition, Add to Render Queue. I'm going to go to that last one here. I named it correctly. Make sure it's a .mov, make sure it's exporting to the right place, and say Save, and then Render. All right, we're all done here.